guys, it's Rachel here, and today I'm going to be filming for you guys a Top 5 Wednesday video. And it's been a freaking minute since I filmed a Top 5 Wednesday video. But you know what? This month's topics were so good, and I feel bad that I am so late to filming one, but this week I just couldn't pass up on it, and just because the topic is just so great. If you guys are curious, if you didn't know, Top 5 Wednesday was a group created by Lainey over at Ginger Reads Lainey. I will be sure to link Lainey as well as the Goodreads group down below if you guys are interested in participating. And this week's topic, the amazing topic, is your top 5 books that you loved that were recommended to you by other people. Now, this could be an entire video series in and of itself. I have read so many books that have been recommended to me by people, and some of them were directly recommended to me and others were not directly recommended to me, but people were just like, you need to read this book kind of thing, and so that's where I am with this. I also could make a video talking about the specific people that have recommended me books more than anybody else, and they are definitely going to be in the list of books that you see here, but you know, let's just go ahead and let's get started. So my 5th book that was recommended to me by somebody is going to be The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. Now, this one wasn't necessarily directly recommended to me, but it was recommended by Riley over at Riley Marie 1196, and I can remember the day that she posted the video about this. I can remember the video, obviously the video that she posted when she had picked up this book. Nobody had really heard of it at the time, and then she picked it up and she blurbed it, and I was just like, I need this book in my life. I picked it up, I read it, I loved it. This follows a main character who is a princess betrothed to the prince of another kingdom. She decides she's not having that, so she runs away, and then she is pursued by an assassin and the scorned prince, and you don't know who the assassin is and who the prince is, and they're both kind of after her, trying to get a hold of her. I am saddened to say that I don't even know if I was sad. Maybe saddened is not the word. I was naive enough to not know who was who. I didn't guess it right, but I know a lot of people guessed it right, but I didn't guess it right, and so that's why it was great for me. It was definitely a really gimmicky thing, and I liked it. I like gimmicky books, but yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I haven't read the second book, The Heart of Betrayal, but I'm hoping to read it very soon because the 3rd book is coming out very soon. I think I rated this a 5 out of 5 when I read it. It's been a while since I read it, but I really enjoyed this. The second book is going to be a book that was recommended to me by Adriana from Perpetual Pages, and that's going to be Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. Now, again, I can't remember for sure if this one was directly recommended to me by Adriana or not. She probably did because she loves this book. I read this book actually with Sarah and Lindsay, and I liked it more than I think the both of them. I loved this book. I loved Melina Marchetta's writing in this book. It's so beautiful, and I feel it was really poetic. I wasn't even done with this book before I went and picked up the 2nd and 3rd books in the trilogy, which of course I haven't read, but I've really enjoyed this book. It's kind of hard to explain what it's about, but this follows a main character named Finnegan, and Finnegan is pretty much on this journey to get back to the kingdom of Limitier, where it is being closed off, and he goes through a whole bunch of trials and tribulations. He's trying to get these people back to Limitier, trying to take back his kingdom. It's got a love story in it that I personally loved. It's a slow burn, which I also loved. I loved this book, and I actually really should pick up the 2nd book soon. It's massive. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I really love this. I'm actually due for a reread on this. I should reread this. I really liked this. The next book that I have to share with you guys is also not a book that was directly recommended to me by this person, but they talked about it enough when it first came out that I just had to pick it up, and that was going to be The Archived by Victoria Schwab. So this one was recommended to me by Jessie from Jessie the Reader. At the time when Jessie had read this, nobody had really nobody really was talking about Victoria Schwab. And so I have this on my bookshelf for a really long time, and it wasn't because I didn't want to read it. It was because I knew I was going to read it, I knew I was going to love it, and I knew that the book was going to be over and that I wouldn't get to experience the book all over. I wouldn't get to experience the book for the first time all over again. I loved the Archived. I also loved the Unbound. I really hope that there's going to be a third book, because I just feel that we need it. I need more Mac in my life. Mac and Wes. I need them in my life. So pretty much this follows a main character named Mac, and Mac is a keeper for the Archived, and pretty much what the Archived is going to be this massive like library slash archive that keeps histories, and histories are exactly kind of what they sound like. They're not the dead per se, but it's like the histories of somebody that has died. And pretty much what's happening is that someone is purposely going around and altering histories and waking histories up, and they're getting out. And so Mac has to go and get these histories and take them back to the Archived. It gets dangerous. Q and Wesley. This book is really good. I really enjoyed this one. I love this book. I highly recommend this to people. This is a good one. Now, the last two books. So number 4 is going to be a book that was recommended to me from one of my wonderful friends, and that's going to be Lindsay from Lindsay Ray, and that's going to be The Girl in 60 by A.R. Torrey. I love A.R. Torrey, Alessandra Torrey, whatever. I love this book. You guys know this was on my top books of last year. This is an erotic thriller. It was definitely what I needed at the time. It's so sexy but so great. I again can't directly remember if Lindsay recommended this one to me directly, but she talks about it. I needed it. It happened. This, you know, as always, this follows a main character named Deanna Matson, and at a young age she suffers a tragedy, a really traumatic experience, and from this she has this like kind of mindset where she wants to murder people. And so because of this, she locks herself in an apartment, and she has everything sent to her, all her toiletries, all her food, everything, and at about 9 p.m. she has somebody lock her in so she can't get out to kill anybody. The way that she makes money though is that she is a cam girl, so pretty much she performs sexual acts on the camera for money, and she makes a lot of money doing so. During the course of her camming, she encounters a man who is saying some very odd type things, from very disturbing things about somebody else, and so she kind of has to decide whether she is going to break out of that and go and find out what is going on with this, leave her apartment, or if she's gonna stay and just kind of let it happen. This is so good. The trilogy itself is so good, but this is by far my favorite book in the trilogy. I highly recommend this to like everybody. Except children. I would not recommend that to children. It is a sexy book. And last but certainly not least, my number 1, 2, 3, because I had 3 books here. My number 1 recommend friend that every time he talks about a book, I always want to pick it up, and that's going to be Max from All Done Books. Mac recommended all 3 of these books to me, whether they were directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter, but Max recommended all these books, and so I picked them all up. First one being Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. He read this book. It's one of his favorite books ever. I had to pick it up. I did. Loved it. This follows a post-apocalyptic world, but I guess it's pre-apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic, following 3 different storylines: before, kind of during, and after. But the after is kind of following this traveling symphony that are doing performances of King Lear. This also follows a main character named Arthur Leander, who is a actor who has a very odd life, and it also kind of just follows like the ins and outs of things. This is so intricately woven and so beautifully done. I loved this book so freaking much. I recommend this book to like everybody if you want like a slow, I don't want to say slow book, but like a slow build up. It's so great, so great. It's so beautiful. This thing deserves like every award. The next book that I read that loved because Max, that's going to be All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Dwyer. I read this 2 years ago and I totally love this one. This is a World War II story following 2 main characters, a young girl in France and a young boy who is in the Nazi youth, and this following, like in World War II, the invasion of France. It is so freaking beautifully written. It's not even funny. Like, I can't, when I think about this book, like, I feel some type of way. I loved this book so much. The writing is beautiful. Similar to Station 11, you're reading like an outsider looking in. Like, you're seeing how these people's lives are being lived, and you're almost like a narrator yourself, if that makes sense. I loved this book. I recommend this book to everybody. It's beautiful, it's haunting, it's devastating, it's amazing. And finally, the #1 book that Max recommended is going to be Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. This book is awesome. This is a autobiographical type memoir from Jenny Lawson. This is pretty much her talking about her being furiously happy. She talks about her mental illnesses as they pertain to depression, anxiety, all kinds of different things, eating disorders, trichotillomania, all kinds of things. It's fantastic. I loved it. You should read it. But yeah, those are all the books that I've loved, that have been recommended to me by people. If you guys have any recommendations for me, go ahead and let me know down below. And you can let me know your favorite books that were recommended to you by other people. But other than that, guys, thanks so much for commenting, liking, subscribing, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.